Hello there my fellow holotable heroes and welcome to another Galactic challenge video. We have the return of the Hutt Cartel challenge yet again, but luckily this time it's cheesable, not like the previous two that were kind of hard because of all the AoEs. This time the enemy is actually quite weak and AI dumb, so we should be able to cheese this no matter the gear level of your Hutt Cartel. You really need only one tanky character in your leading slot. I like to use Padme because his leadership is easily triggered. By the way, more about that once we get into the challenge. So as always, I'll start off with the modifiers and defeats, and then I'll show you the battles. 3 battles here for you today. So first one will be Hutt Cartel, and then 2 different teams to gain offense up, so either troopers or Padme can get this done quite easily. So if you're just interested in the battles, skip through to using YouTube chapters below. But otherwise, let's just look at the modifiers for today. For Bespin, we have Decadence. What this essentially will do, as you can see, we have accuracy reduced, everybody, so there'll be a little bit more dodging than usual. But that, yeah, gaining stack of this wealth is kind of nice. However, every time you get damage, you will lose all the stacks, and they've got lots of AoEs, so I was really struggling here to stack a lot of this stuff on. By the way, it's thermal detonators doing most damage. Speaking of thermal detonators, so quite worthy Hutt Cartel modifier, but we are familiar now with it already, I would imagine. So as long as your leader has protection, the other guys cannot be defeated, and on top of it as well, whenever a thermal detonator explodes, you will be gaining protection up, stacking. So that's essentially the strategy. Stack a lot of thermal detonators on the enemies. When they explode, you'll be getting lots of protection up, so then your leader basically will never die because he will have so much protection. So it's a very straightforward strategy here. Now luckily the enemy, they're getting the weak here's counter modifiers, so not a whole lot really boost from their end. In terms of the enemy, we're going up against Beskar Mando lead, and Beskar Mando's AI is really dumb. You know, whenever they have whistling birds, they could just literally target your leader and potentially one-shot it or remove all protection or whatever. But they just go random, so very rarely it actually happened that, from my testing at least, that Mando used whistling birds on my leader. Definitely a little bit annoying there with obviously Mando's damage immunity. He puts tenacity up as well at that point, so then you can't land those thermal detonators on him. So it may take a few minutes while you're going through that damage immunity, waiting for Mando to drop damage immunity and then continue your attacks. But anyway, it's gonna be straightforward here. So in terms of the feats, we have to win obviously with a full team of Hutt Cartel units, then win with 3 critical hits in a row, and then finally gains offense up at least 20 times. So all of these feats are going to be quite straightforward, as you will see. Now in terms of Hutt Cartel, I always like to go with Cad Bane lead, just because his contract is, I think, the easiest to trigger from all of these you know, leaders that I have, like Boba, Embo, as well as Greedo, because they're relic. I want to put some low gear in the leading slot, because you know that they can lose protection very quickly. So you just have to inflict 20 debuffs on the enemies, and on top of it all as well, their tenacity will be reduced whenever you do get the contract trigger. So hopefully after you get your contract trigger, you can then land those thermal detonators a little bit more reliably, as well as all the other debuffs. And then he also has got this nice special ability here that removes turn meter and stuns as well, so this will come in handy, that we can kind of try and stun lock Beskar Mando as much as we can, so he never gets a chance to use his damage immunity ability. Boba here, I didn't remod actually for this event. If you would want to remod, probably it would be better maybe to mod for potency, just so you can land debuffs, but it wasn't necessary for me. Greedo as well, here even if you have him at low gear, he's very good. He's got an AoE thermal detonators, which will help a little bit with the damage. However, most importantly here, his threaten ability, so similar like the other special ability from Cad Bane, he removes turn meter and stuns on this ability, which again will allow you to hopefully try and stun on Beskar Mando as much as you can between Greedo and Cad Bane's abilities. Again, in terms of mods, if you do want to remod, potency would be nice, so you can land those thermal detonators reliably. And finally Leia for her thermal detonators, of course, and Kersantan for the permataunt. Nice thing about Kersantan as well, on his basic he can land a shock, which will hopefully a little bit stop them from stealing protection up from you. But anyway, let's roll the footage and let me show you how this team works. It's a straightforward thing. Mando goes into Whistling Birds, which is fine. Now I'll just go ahead, do an AoE here, try to get those debuffs flowing. More thermal detonators as well with Leia, more thermal detonators. There we go, thermal detonators exploded with Leia there, so I get 5 stacks of protection up already on Cad Bane to begin with, so there's nothing they can do. Let's go ahead now with Greedo and stun Beskar Mando. I will save the stun from Cad Bane for when Mando loses his stun, so just use basic there. They're getting a bunch of turns. Don't use rocket here because you will dispel stun on Beskar Mando. You just want to let him be stunned as long as you can. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can survive this. As you can see, AS down probably triggered Karsantan or something. Anyway, let's see if we can get another stun. Ooh, unfortunately their Beskar Mando resisted stun. Tried to land healing immunity to him. Nope, didn't work. So definitely maybe potency could help a little bit. But anyway, we'll just keep going here. Keep chucking those thermals. Come on, give me a debuff. Resisted again. Okay, here comes the Whistling Birds yet again. Alright, okay, here we go. And that's what happens when you kind of stun lock him a couple of times. Then once he finally gets a turn, he actually has Whistling Birds ready to be used again. So he never uses his damage immunity because he always prioritizes, looks like, Whistling Birds over damage immunity. But anyway, let's just keep going. Okay, they keep going. Karsantan taunting like a champ, no issues whatsoever. We've got another stun, so let's go ahead and use it. Stun Beskar Mando yet again. Let's throw some thermals. Basic, there we go. We're doing some progress, let's go ahead, stack more thermal detonators. Again, save the stun from Cad Bane if you have Beskar Mando already stunned, so just use basic there. Okay, now they are going. As you can see, because of all these AoEs, they constantly, I'm losing the wealth debuff. I got 18 stacks already of protection up on Cad Bane, so you know, there's no way they're taking him down. Alright, here we go. Yeah, keep going. Come on. Almost got you. Whistling Birds yet again. Alright, here we go. Got a stun with Cad Bane this time. Perfect. Again, saving stun from Greedo here. Just basics. And that's essentially really what you want to do. Keep stunning him as much as you can with both Cad Bane and Greedo. And then in between, keep stacking thermal detonators. Try to land healing immunity with Boba if you can on his big rocket hit. Again, stun. Keeping him stun locked. And now we can just go ahead and finish him. Come on, this should do it. 1 hit, 2 hit, and there we go. And as soon as Beskar Mando is down, to be honest, at this point, you can just hit autoplayed. Yeah, I can't really do a whole lot, to be honest, because they're not very clever with what they're doing. And all these thermal detonators that keep exploding will keep adding protection up on your Cad Bane. So even when those guys are using AoEs or old Boba there, he can actually ignore taunt. He'll have so much protection up over on Cad Bane that, you know, they won't be able to defeat him. Oh, a big rocket there from Boba to finish off here the battle. So there you go. So that's how I got my Hutt Cartel feat done, as well as the 3 critical hits in a row here in a single battle. And there we go. So let's move on now on to the next one, which is offense up. Many ways to get this done, obviously, so troopers always should be your first choice if you can when it comes to offense up. Just showing the speed on my Piat, he's at 345, but even if you probably have him like, you know, much slower, doesn't seem like enemies all that fast, so you can then get your Emperor's Trap going. Obviously gotta be a little bit careful here, because if you kind of do too much damage here from Beskar, he can go into damage immunity and things like that. So what I did, instead of doing now here mass assist with Veers, I just used basic, and I just first a little bit get his protection further down. I did an AoE here to land the Daze on Griefs, because Grief can counter attack and potentially land Daze on Dark Trooper, you don't want that. So with Beskar's Mando protection down, I will go ahead now, unload the AoE here, come on, 1 more hit, and down he goes. And that's it pretty much. At this point you can just hit autoplay. Now if it does happen that you don't manage to quite finish off Beskar Mando there, he will get a turn, he maybe will go in damage immunity, then you just have to kind of put basic and wait a few minutes that the enemies actually get a turn. So definitely want to try to avoid that if you can. Up next, also Padme as well can do offense up quite easily here. Both Shakti on her basic, she will grant offense up to allies that don't have it yet. Grandmaster Yoda himself, whenever he attacks with his basic an enemy that's below 50% health, again can give himself offense up. and then Gen Anakin on his AoE, he grants offense up on everybody, and of course Yoda, he can spread offense up as well to everybody. So it's going to be very simple here. I'm just going to do basic hero Shakti, that's offense up 5 times, AoE from Anakin, offense up 10 times, and I'm just going to do mass assist here over on Beskar Mando. He goes into Whistling Birds. Let's just go ahead, finish him off, spread offense up, so that's offense up 15 times, and at this point you can just hit autoplay. You just need to gain offense up 5 more times for the feed, and you know, let AI handle this. It shouldn't be no issues whatsoever. You get another AoE from Anakin, another maybe battle meditation from Yoda, another basic from Shakti, and you should be good to go here as well for gaining offense up feat with Padme team. And that's it guys, that's all for today's video. Hope you find it useful and helpful, showing you how I got very easily max rewards this time. Well, I guess the Hutt Cartel versus Beskar Mando, you can sometimes get a little bit stuck in a loop, like you always get Beskar Mando down, he gets a turn, heals himself up, damage immunity. So for my testing, sometimes I did need like 5, 6, even 7 minutes that I finally got around his damage immunity and finished him. But as soon as you do that, hit autoplay and you should be good to go. Thank you for watching guys, I'll see you in the next one, but until then have fun, enjoy life, and may the RNG be with you my friends.